Good morning. It's Wednesday, February the 19th, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today. Unlike those who pretend to know socialism, I actually do know socialism because I grew up in a socialist household. My podcast is short, approximately 5 to 10 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to. I've been listening to Rush Limbaugh since 1989. I've been listening to Sean Hannity since he became syndicated. I've been listening to Hugh Hewitt, Glenn Beck, and Joe Pags for about 5 years. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. And today, the tweet of the day, Comrade Gerda, Hugh Hewitt is wrong, property rights, and so-called conservative coffee. All that when I come back. Thank you very much. The tweet of the day is from Curt Schilling. Mr. Schilling is a former professional baseball player, I do believe, and he tweeted a picture of an arm. I assume that it's his arm, and it shows a long sutured wound, I assume from an operation. And this picture is in response to a tweet from somebody named Choo Choo, who demanded, quote, "Yeah, and you made the unproved claim. Prove that it wasn't faked," unquote. What Choo Choo is doing here is making a demand known as prove the negative. It is impossible to prove a negative, and no true conservative should allow himself to be baited into doing so. Choo Choo demands of Mr. Schilling that he prove that it wasn't faked, and Mr. Schilling responds with a picture. But Choo Choo could now ask that Mr. Schilling prove that the picture is genuine and not photoshopped. And if Mr. Schilling provides, say, an affidavit, then Choo Choo could demand that Mr. Schilling prove that the affidavit wasn't a forgery. And this could go on with no end. In other words, Choo Choo is making an arbitrary demand about Mr. Schilling's arbitrary claim. There are 3 possible solutions to this mess. 1, take Mr. Schilling's word for it. 2, ignore Mr. Schilling's claim. 3, agree on what constitutes proof ahead of time. Next up, Commie Mommy. Thank you very much. My foster mother, Gerda, from now on, Commie Mommy, was a bitch. There's no better way to describe her. She believed that if you disagreed with her, then you were not only wrong, but evil, and you therefore deserved to be severely punished for your villainy. A few episodes back, I described a situation where I was severely punished for rooting for Jimmy Connors instead of Rod Laver during a tennis match. The severe punishment that I received was psychological abandonment. Commie Mommy refused not only to speak to me, but refused to even acknowledge my existence for the rest of the day. This is what you get with the socialists. They may claim that dissent is patriotic, but what they really mean is shut up and do as you're told. When I come back, Hugh Hewitt is wrong again. Well, thank you. Welcome back. Hugh Hewitt is spending time on his show advising his audience to vote for Bernie Sanders. I will now refer to Bernie Sanders from now on as BS. More specifically, he's advocating that Republican voters in open primary states vote for BS. Mr. Hewitt goes as far as to claim that any Republican that votes for Trump in an open primary state is throwing away their vote. This advice is wrong and worthless. Mr. Hewitt claims that he can manipulate the primaries so as to set up a BS versus President Trump choice for November, a choice that will be favorable to President Trump. This idea is wrong and bad for at least 2 reasons. 1, because it's deceptive, and deception is wrong. 2, because President Trump doesn't need that kind of help. If you want to make an impact on the November elections beyond voting for Donald Trump, donate directly to the Trump campaign. When I come back, homelessness or property rights? Thank you. Here in Los Angeles County, everyone is going along with the mantra, quote, what do we do about the homeless, unquote. Everyone is trying to figure out what to do. This is wrong for two reasons. One, it presumes that homelessness is the problem. Two, it presumes that socialism is the answer to that problem. Both of these are wrong. The problem is property, and the solution to the property problem is respect. Respect for the law and respect for property rights. If we conservatives continue to see every problem as a socialism problem, why should we be surprised when we get socialist results? Let me also ask, quote, while the mayors and governors are busy trying to create socialist paradise, what happens to the middle class, the property owners? Don't they count? Don't they matter? In this issue, the left has cleverly slanted the debate to be about public housing instead of the rights of the property owner. Don't be fooled. Up next, not every act is a political act. Thank you. Conservative coffee? I just heard a commercial on the radio for a coffee company that claims to be a conservative and donates money to conservative causes. Buying coffee from a company just because it claims to be conservative is a bad idea. The left encourages business to contribute to left-wing causes because the left-wing theory is that all acts are political acts. Obvious baloney. But we honor it when we, quote, play the game, unquote. The true conservative doesn't play the left-wing game. We true conservatives mind our own business. When we need coffee, we go buy coffee. And we buy coffee without regard to the political leanings of the company that sells it. If a true conservative wants to buy conservative coffee for, say, personal reasons, it tastes better and is cheaper, fine, that's conservative. Buying coffee to make a difference is silly and ineffective. Back in a minute. Thank you. Who is the true conservative? He is the person that understands that conservatism is not just about politics, but culture as well. He's not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He's patriotic and uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He is open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential. Not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes, he is a normal American, and he's better than the socialist. He is a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that. If you don't know with every fiber of your being that being a true conservative is best, then you're wasting your time. And that brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. Remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. Think about it.